Have you ever noticed that the smartest person in the room is often the quietest one? While everyone else rushes to speak, argue, impress, explain, or prove themselves, there is sometimes one individual sitting calmly, observing everything without needing attention. And strangely, when that person finally speaks, everyone listens. Psychology suggests this is not a coincidence. Truly intelligent people often speak less because their minds process the world differently. They are not silent because they have nothing to say. They are silent because they understand something most people do not. Words lose power when they are used carelessly. In a world where people constantly compete for attention, smart people recognize that observation is often more valuable than reaction. They understand that listening reveals more than talking ever can. And perhaps most importantly, they realize that intelligence is not about proving superiority. It is about understanding reality clearly. Most people talk for emotional reasons rather than logical ones. Human beings often speak to seek validation, reduce insecurity, gain attention, release anxiety, avoid awkward silence, or feel socially accepted. Conversation is deeply connected to emotion. But highly intelligent individuals tend to think before reacting emotionally. Their brains naturally analyze situations internally before expressing opinions externally. This creates the impression that they are quieter than others. In reality, their minds are usually extremely active. While others react immediately, intelligent people often observe patterns, consequences, contradictions, and hidden motivations before deciding whether speaking is even necessary. One major reason smart people speak less is because they understand the difference between knowledge and noise. Most conversations contain repetition, emotional reactions, shallow opinions, or unnecessary social performance. Intelligent individuals quickly recognize when discussion has little value. They understand that speaking constantly does not increase intelligence. In many cases, it reveals insecurity. People who desperately need to prove how smart they are often speak the most. Truly intelligent people usually feel no urgency to display knowledge because confidence does not require constant validation. Psychologists have long studied the connection between intelligence and observation. Research suggests highly intelligent individuals often spend more time processing information internally. Their brains naturally analyze details, social dynamics, emotional behavior, and logical inconsistencies more deeply than average. Because of this, intelligent people frequently pause before speaking. They understand that words create consequences. A single sentence can influence emotions, relationships, opportunities, and perceptions. While impulsive people speak first and think later, intelligent minds often reverse that process. Another reason smart people remain quiet is because they recognize how much they still do not know. Ironically, the more intelligent someone becomes, the more aware they become of complexity. This psychological phenomenon is closely related to something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. People with low knowledge often overestimate their understanding because they lack awareness of what they do not know. Meanwhile, intelligent individuals usually become more intellectually humble because they recognize the enormous depth of reality. They understand that every topic contains layers, perspectives, and uncertainty. This is why truly smart people often sound calmer, more thoughtful, and less emotionally absolute than those with shallow understanding. There is also a strong connection between intelligence and listening. Most people listen only enough to prepare their next response. Intelligent individuals often listen to understand patterns beneath the words. They observe tone changes, emotional reactions, contradictions, body language, and hidden intentions. Listening gives them information, and information creates power. The quiet observer in the room often understands everyone else better than they understand him. This is why highly intelligent individuals may appear mysterious. They reveal less while learning more. Silence itself can also be a sign of emotional control. Emotionally reactive individuals tend to speak impulsively during stress, anger, insecurity, or excitement. Intelligent people are often more aware of emotional consequences. They understand that temporary emotions can create permanent damage. This does not mean intelligent people never express emotions. It means they are more likely to regulate emotional reactions before speaking. Calm thinking protects them from unnecessary conflict, embarrassment, and regret. Another reason smart people speak less is because they understand human nature deeply. They recognize that arguing with emotionally committed people rarely changes minds. Most individuals defend beliefs emotionally, not logically. Intelligent people quickly notice when conversations become ego battles instead of truth-seeking discussions. In such situations, silence becomes wisdom. Not every misunderstanding requires correction. Not every opinion deserves response. And not every argument is worth emotional energy. This is one of the hardest lessons human beings learn. Being right and being peaceful are often different things. Intelligent individuals understand that constantly needing to win discussions usually reflects insecurity rather than wisdom. They choose their words carefully because they value energy, clarity, and long-term outcomes more than temporary emotional victories. Smart people also recognize the psychological power of silence. In conversations, silence creates attention. People become uncomfortable when emotional noise disappears. Most individuals rush to fill silence because silence exposes insecurity. But intelligent people are often comfortable with pauses because they are comfortable with thinking. This emotional calmness creates presence, and presence creates influence. The person who speaks slowly and carefully usually appears more intelligent than the person speaking endlessly without direction. Interestingly, intelligent people often become quieter as they grow older. Life experience teaches them that many problems cannot be solved through endless explanation. They realize people only understand things when they are emotionally ready to understand them. Wisdom teaches restraint. Younger individuals sometimes believe intelligence means always having answers. Mature intelligence understands that silence can sometimes communicate more powerfully than words ever could. There is also a biological reason intelligent individuals may appear quieter. Highly analytical brains consume enormous mental energy, processing information constantly. Overthinking environments, analyzing social interactions, predicting outcomes, and noticing details can become mentally exhausting. As a result, many intelligent people prefer calm environments and meaningful conversations over loud social stimulation. Small talk often feels emotionally draining because it lacks depth. Intelligent individuals are usually more interested in ideas, psychology, purpose, meaning, creativity, or understanding reality than discussing superficial topics repeatedly. Another fascinating factor is that intelligent people often feel socially disconnected. The more deeply someone thinks, the more difficult it sometimes becomes to relate to shallow environments. This does not mean intelligent people believe they are superior. In fact, many highly intelligent individuals struggle with loneliness because they crave deeper emotional and intellectual connection than most environments provide. When someone constantly analyzes reality deeply, superficial interaction may feel emotionally empty. This explains why many intelligent people enjoy solitude. Solitude allows uninterrupted thinking. It creates mental space for reflection, creativity, learning, and emotional processing. While many people fear being alone because silence exposes their thoughts, intelligent individuals often enjoy solitude because their inner world is highly active. Their minds provide stimulation naturally. Some of history's greatest thinkers, scientists, philosophers, inventors, and artists spent enormous amounts of time alone because deep thinking requires mental space. At the same time, intelligence is often misunderstood socially. Modern culture rewards visibility, confidence, loudness, attention, and rapid communication. Social media especially encourages constant expression. People are rewarded for reacting instantly, sharing opinions constantly, and staying visible at all times. In such an environment, thoughtful silence can appear unusual. But intelligent individuals often recognize the danger of constant emotional reaction. They understand that attention is not the same as value. Being loud does not equal being wise. One of the clearest signs of intelligence is the ability to tolerate uncertainty. Most people rush toward conclusions because uncertainty creates discomfort. Intelligent minds are more capable of sitting with complexity without immediately forcing simple answers. This makes them slower to speak because they understand reality is rarely black and white. They ask more questions, they think more deeply, and they avoid speaking with false certainty simply to appear confident. Another important reason intelligent people speak less is because they notice how often people misunderstand each other. Human communication is imperfect. Words carry emotional interpretation, personal bias, insecurity, and assumptions. Intelligent individuals recognize that many conflicts happen not because people are evil, but because perception itself is limited. Understanding this creates patience. It also creates caution. Smart people know careless words can destroy trust quickly. Highly intelligent individuals also tend to value precision. They dislike speaking inaccurately or emotionally exaggerating information without evidence. This is why thoughtful people often pause before answering questions. They mentally organize ideas before expressing them clearly. Meanwhile, impulsive individuals may speak quickly without analyzing whether their statements are even correct. Intelligence naturally creates caution because accuracy matters more than speed. Interestingly, intelligent people often intimidate others unintentionally. Quiet observation combined with emotional calmness can create psychological pressure in social situations. Humans instinctively become nervous around people who appear highly aware. The quiet person observing carefully often seems more mentally powerful than the loudest person demanding attention. This is why some intelligent individuals are misunderstood as cold, arrogant, or intimidating even when they are simply thoughtful. There is also a connection between intelligence and emotional independence. Many people constantly seek validation through conversation, social approval, and external attention. Intelligent individuals are often more comfortable entertaining themselves mentally. They do not always need constant stimulation because curiosity already exists internally. This independence can appear emotionally strong because they seem less dependent on external validation. Another reason smart people speak less is because they understand timing. Intelligent communication is not only about what you say, it is about when you say it. Words spoken at the wrong moment lose effectiveness. Truly intelligent people often wait carefully before expressing important ideas because timing shapes emotional impact. Strategic silence allows observation before action. History repeatedly demonstrates this pattern. Some of the most respected leaders, philosophers, strategists, and thinkers were known for thoughtful restraint rather than endless speech. Wisdom often appears calm because deep understanding removes the need for emotional performance. People who truly understand themselves rarely feel desperate to constantly prove themselves. However, it is important to understand that quietness alone does not automatically mean intelligence. Some quiet individuals struggle with anxiety, fear, insecurity, trauma, or social discomfort. Silence by itself is not proof of wisdom. The difference lies in emotional energy. Intelligent silence feels calm, observant, and emotionally grounded. Fearful silence feels tense, withdrawn, and uncertain. Human beings subconsciously sense these differences through body language, posture, eye contact, and emotional presence. At the same time, society often unfairly underestimates quiet individuals because modern culture associates confidence with loudness. But true confidence is not always loud. Sometimes confidence appears calm, patient, emotionally stable, and deeply observant. Some of the smartest people in the world simply have no interest in competing for attention constantly. Another fascinating truth is that intelligent people often ask more questions than they answer. This is because curiosity drives intelligence. The smartest minds are rarely obsessed with appearing correct. Instead, they are obsessed with understanding reality more deeply. Questions create learning. Ego blocks it. Intelligent individuals understand that certainty can become dangerous when it stops growth. Smart people also recognize how emotional manipulation works. They notice when conversations become driven by ego, fear, insecurity, social pressure, or group mentality. This awareness often makes them quieter in crowds because they observe psychological behavior others miss. Group environments frequently reward emotional conformity over independent thinking. Intelligent individuals sometimes remain silent simply because they refuse to participate in shallow thinking. One reason silence feels powerful is because humans project meaning onto it. When someone reveals less information, others become curious. They begin imagining thoughts, intentions, emotions, and intelligence levels. Mystery increases psychological presence. This explains why quiet, intelligent individuals often appear more attractive, emotionally strong, or intimidating than highly predictable personalities. There is also something deeply powerful about speaking only when necessary. When someone talks constantly, their words lose emotional weight. But when a thoughtful individual speaks carefully and rarely, people naturally listen more closely. Scarcity increases value psychologically. This principle applies not only to communication, but to attention itself. The deeper truth is that intelligence changes how people experience reality. Intelligent individuals often notice patterns, contradictions, emotional manipulation, social dynamics, and long-term consequences others ignore. Their silence is not emptiness. It is processing, observation, reflection, awareness. Sometimes their minds are moving too deeply for immediate reaction. Perhaps the most important reason smart people speak less is because they understand themselves. They no longer feel the constant need to impress strangers, dominate conversations, prove superiority, or seek approval from everyone around them. Self-awareness creates peace, and peace reduces unnecessary noise. In the end, smart people speak less because they understand the value of thought, observation, emotional control, and meaningful communication. They recognize that words can build trust or destroy it, reveal wisdom or expose insecurity. They know that silence often reveals more than endless talking ever could. In a loud world obsessed with attention, the ability to remain thoughtful, calm, observant, and intentional becomes rare. And rarity creates power. The smartest person in the room is not always the loudest. Sometimes they are simply the one who understood that true intelligence does not need to announce itself constantly.